how to start a successful barbecue sauce business, and is a barbecue sauce business profitable? Well, in this video, I'm actually going to walk you through step by step on how you can generate a business selling your barbecue sauce and making $6,000 a month or even more. I'm going to give you the step by step on the legalities and how you do that, and then stay to the end. I'll break down the numbers and tell you how many bottles you need to sell and the profit margins, and we're going to do that right now. All right, so welcome to Marketing Food Online. And if this is your first video, definitely welcome to our Food Entrepreneur channel. You'll want to hit the subscribe button and check out all of our 1,000+ videos on all types of food entrepreneurial food businesses and the ways that you can get them up and running and started. So I am a food entrepreneur myself. My wife and I have owned and operated our own food businesses for about 14 years now. We have our e-commerce businesses, and we've operated Italian bakeries and a handful of other food businesses. So let me dive right into this. Let me get right to the point. I'm going to give you the step-by-step process on how to do this. Actually, I have a friend of mine who had launched a hot sauce business, actually, and ended up incorporating barbecue sauces into his lineup. And some of the information that he told me about, I definitely said, you know what, I'm going to do a video about it and launch a great how-to step-by-step. So starting a barbecue sauce business with a goal of $6,000 a month in revenue involves numerous steps. Now, for the formulation to the marketing and everything in between, I'm going to give you a really quick understanding of how that works. So here's a step-by-step breakdown and the estimated startup costs even as well. And then we're going to go into the financials for $6,000 a month. Now, you can make it a goal to do more than that. And of course, all of this is dependent upon your effort and your ability to grow your business. There are no guarantees as an entrepreneur, obviously, with anything. There was no guarantees when I started my business. I just knew that I could do it, and I needed to figure out how to do it. So number one, research and planning. So study the market and identify potential competitors that you have in the barbecue sauce industry or even local markets. Understand your target customer too. It's very important to understand your demographics, guys. This is one thing that when I first started, didn't understand the importance of. But when you understand your customer, you'll know where they are as far as online, where you can promote your stuff in retail stores, local events, farmers markets, etc. All right, so the cost to do this, mostly time and effort. Research and planning really doesn't cost you much of anything as far as dollar amount. You just need to be online, or you need to go into your local markets and find out what's going on and do research that way. That really doesn't cost much. Next up, formulation and testing. Now, you want to develop a unique, tasty barbecue sauce recipe, of course. Test it with your friends and families or even a focus group for feedback. Now, the cost to do this initially, ingredients and packaging for testing, potentially about $200 to $300 in regards to getting some samples made. Now, this is not mass production just yet. Next up, you want to do is licensing and regulations. Now, get necessary permits, especially for your food businesses, no matter where you are. If you want to launch it from home, double check with your cottage food laws. If you want it into a commercial kitchen, make sure that you've got all of your licenses, business licenses, permits, and of course, insurance and such. Understand and follow FDA guidelines. Now, they do set forth a particular set of guidelines for labeling. That is something I want to give you a heads up on. You basically go to the FDA website and you can literally type in the search box sauce regulations or sauce guidelines, and they will show up, and you can definitely check that out. Now, the cost to do this, now this will vary by state, typically anywhere from about $100 to maybe $1,000. Potentially less than that. I don't think you're going to be running initially up to over $1,000 in licenses and permits. It might be just a few $100 to get that started on that end. Next up is the manufacturing. Now, you want to decide between a home-based production, co-packing, or even your own facility. Now, you can rent out a commercial kitchen as well. If you go to a co-packer, you can do that. But a little bit of warning. Don't approach a co-packer or private label company just yet until you have outlets to sell your product. For instance, I do a lot of consulting. By the way, if you need consulting, you can check out the link down below. A lot of my clients who have actually started sauce businesses haven't had just the generation of sales just yet. So I always steer them clear of co-packing. When you get to the point where you cannot make enough yourself, co-packers and private label companies, that's when they come into play. Home-based production is a genius idea. Many states allow, believe it or not, under cottage food laws, sauces. Double check your state specifically, but there are states that do allow that. Now, if it's a home-based, like I mentioned, ensure that it's allowed and you would adhere to all the cottage food laws and stipulations and regulations. Next up is the cost. So the initial batch could be anywhere from about $500 to several $100s or more, depending on the scale and size of your first batch. It doesn't necessarily have to be that expensive, so this won't be something dramatically that you'll be investing in right up front. Branding and packaging, next up. Design a logo, labels, and packaging that stands out. You want to be sure, if you're going to be on retail store shelves, you want to stand out on the shelf for sure. You want to consider some eco-friendly options as well if you're into that as well. If you're not and you're selling it locally, you can do a lot of this yourself through farmers markets, festivals, food events, special events, and such. Now, the cost to design this, now branding and packaging, anywhere from about $100 to maybe $1,000. I don't think you should be, when you first start, spending more than about $400 or $500. Your initial packaging and labels should also be about $500 to $600. Next up, marketing and distribution. Understand this. Set up a website with e-commerce capabilities, obviously. Use social media and local events for promotion if you're selling locally. Consider selling at farmers markets, even local stores that are independent grocers, or even online platforms like Amazon, eBay, or Etsy, or even Walmart.com. Now, the cost to set this up. Now, website setup could anywhere between about $100 to $500. I would highly recommend you set your own website up. You'll save yourself a lot of money. And you can use Weebly, you can use Shopify, you can use a lot of these e-commerce platforms. Very simple. Marketing. Now, this is where the challenge comes in. If you're not good at marketing, it could run you between about $500 to $1,500 initially to get a company to help you understand or run your ads for you. Now, I would recommend that because investing $500 and selling hundreds of bottles of sauce because of that ad campaign is obviously worth it. Next up, sales and customer relationship. Now, do not forget, focus on excellent customer service no matter the venue or how you're selling your sauce. You want to use feedback to refine your product or even your business. Now, the cost to do this, again, this one's mostly time and effort. This is not necessarily a dollar amount that's going to cost you unless you hire a company to do your customer service for you. All right, so let's dive into the financial breakdown now. Now, assuming that your average bottle, because you're doing it in small batches and it's artisan and made by hand, you can market that angle. You're going to get around $6 a bottle. Now, to achieve $6,000 a month, obviously, you want to divide $6,000 by your $6 retail, about 1,000 bottles. Now, stick with me because I'll explain how you can do this. It may seem like it's a lot of bottles, but it's not. This means that you need to produce and sell approximately 1,000 bottles a month. Now, your gross margin breakdown. Assuming a production cost of around $2 a bottle, which include ingredients, packaging, and maybe a little bit of your own labor at first. $6 is your sale price minus your cost of $2. That's going to give you $4 of gross profit per bottle. Now, monthly sales of gross profit, 1,000 bottles at $4 per bottle, you're going to be putting about $4,000 in your pocket, giving you sales of around $6,000. Keep that in mind. Those are the gross sales. Now, this means before other expenses like marketing or possible utilities or overheads, you're making a gross profit around $4,000 a month. Now, it's crucial to keep your overhead costs low, obviously, when you're beginning. Now, let me give you some recommendations and explain why 1,000 bottles is not a lot. You want to start small. Begin with a local or niche market. Understand their needs and then gradually expand into those retail storefronts. Why? Because the quantity they're going to ask for is going to reach and help you reach that 1,000 bottles a month. Quality control also. Consistency in taste and quality is essential. Don't cut on your expenses when it comes to good ingredients or steer away from your recipe. Your feedback loop. Always collect feedback and adapt. Scalability. As demand grows, consider transitioning from home-based production, again, like I said before, to a co-packer. Now, let me go through here and explain some ways. I'm going to give you 5 tips on how you can increase the reach of your barbecue sauce product, okay? $6,000 a month, $6 a bottle, that's 1,000 bottles. Now, that roughly is about 30 bottles a day, okay? Number 1, leverage social media. Do not forget the power of social media. Content marketing, share mouth-watering barbecue recipes showing how you use your sauce, grilling techniques, user testimonials, use visually appealing images and videos, showcasing your sauce in action. You want to engage influencers. There's also food influencers. You can even partner with food bloggers, local chefs, or barbecue enthusiasts with a considerable following and tap into their existing platform. Ads and sponsored content. Now, platforms like Facebook and Instagram allow targeted ads. This means that you can put your barbecue sauce right in front of people who really want it. Keep that in mind. Sampling and tasting events. Now, you can organize or even participate in local tasting events at grocery stores, farmers markets, or even food festivals. Giving the potential customers a taste of your barbecue sauce, give them a sample and see where it goes. Collaborate with local restaurants or cafes for special barbecue events where dishes using your sauce could potentially be featured, selling, again, more bottles, more than 30 a day. Collaborative promotions. Team up with complementary businesses. So, for instance, collaborate with a local meat shop or even bundled up deals for a certain amount of meat, they get a discount on your barbecue sauce or even a free bottle to at least try it. Consider partnerships with grilling equipment stores or even barbecue grill manufacturers. They can offer your sauce as an add-on for a promotional item with the purchase of one of their grills. You got to think outside the box and get creative. Expand online sales channels. So e-commerce beyond your own website, consider, like I said before, Walmart.com, Amazon, eBay, or Etsy, which can significantly expand your product's reach because there's millions of people going to those sites. What about a subscription box? Now, there are monthly subscription boxes for gourmet foods, barbecue lovers, and more. Getting your sauce featured in one of those boxes every month expands your reach. Now you can see why I said 30 bottles a day is definitely achievable. Encourage your existing customers to refer their friends and family by offering them discounts or even free products for successful referrals. Lastly, a loyalty program where repeated purchases lead to rewards or discounts or even free bottles of your sauce. Think outside the box, guys, because $6,000 a month is not something that's undoable or not unachievable. You can definitely reach that sales goal or even more. So if you have comments about this, let us know down below. I'll see you on our next video.